Well, guys, let's take a look at the greatest economy ever in existence of mankind. The economy is doing the best that it's ever done. We have full prosperity. We have massive wealth coming in. I mean, the national debt is being paid down. Everything is just fantastic. That is according to the federal government. That was according to Joe Biden. Now, Donald Trump. They both say the same things. The economy is in fantastic shape. But is it really? Are we being lied to? Of course we are. We can see what the economy actually is when we get our payday, when we get our earnings, and we see how far that goes in the month. That is a true indication of what the economy actually is and how well the economy is actually doing. You can find a job, but is it going to pay enough to have a decent life? Or are you just barely making enough money to pay your bills? If that. If you're living payday to payday, then you're not doing well. And a lot of people, unfortunately, aren't even living payday to payday. They don't have enough payday to make it to the end of the week. So they're struggling. They're having to cut back. And we're seeing this all through the economy. We're seeing this right now. We're seeing the dollar die. That's why we're seeing silver prices going sky high. That's why we're seeing gold going up. Because people know that the economy, that the dollar is in serious trouble. Mainly because the government can't stop spending. Joe Biden couldn't stop spending. Donald Trump couldn't stop spending in his first 4 years. Joe Biden the same way. Donald Trump again now. They all spend like crazy. And previous presidents before that also. But it seems like that now, everyone that goes in, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, they all try to outdo each other as far as spending goes to see how much they can put onto the national debt. But they can tell us all they want to that the economy is great. Everything is fantastic. The greatest economy on the face of the earth. It's like the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, the greatest show on earth. The greatest WWE show, make-believe, fantasy that they're putting out there to the public. Even though the public should be able to see what's actually going on, they still tell us what we're seeing. What you're actually seeing, you're broke, but the economy is actually still great. Everything is just wonderful. Anyway, this article here, 3 in 4 Americans say groceries are so expensive they've been forced to cut down on other spending. And I want to know if you've been doing this. Are you seeing this? Are groceries costing more of your monthly budget? Are you having to cut back in other areas to have enough food? Are you having to substitute the foods that you ate before with something cheaper, like boxed foods, for example, just to be able to feed your family? Or are you doing great? Are you really doing great? Do you have more money now than what you did a year ago? Have you seen food prices in your area go lower? Are you hearing your neighbors, your family talk about having to cut back so they can afford food? What are you seeing right now? This article here, this is from MSN. Bankruptcies soar as companies grapple with inflation and tariffs. So we're seeing bankruptcies, more businesses going out of business, which is not good, guys. This article here, Economic Collapse blog, this is Michael Snyder's website. Silver prices surges, silver surges toward the magical $100 mark. Global debt levels are exploding, and the U.S. dollar is dying. And that's what we're seeing right now is the debt exploding and the dollar dying. And it's not just the dollar, it's pretty much everyone else's currency is too, especially in the West, because they can't stop spending. Spend, war, putting that in their pocket, putting that to special interest, and that's why we have so much debt. This is the first time in world history that all of the major powers are facing a nightmarish debt crisis simultaneously. It's not just the U.S., it's not just Japan, it's not just Germany, it's not just one or two countries. It is pretty much all the Western countries are drowning in debt. They can't stop spending. As this $337.7 trillion debt bubble burst, and that's the total debt that's official, it's actually a lot more than that, 337 trillion of debt that these countries have. As this $337 trillion debt bubble burst, it's going to be so important to have your money somewhere else. Mainly silver, gold, land, preps, firearms, ammunition, tools, skills. That is where your money needs to be, not in paper fiat currency. So it makes all the sense in the world that there is so much demand for silver right now. I've been suggesting silver for many years. Silver, to me, over gold. And we see now it's going up and up and up and up. Long-term bond yields have surged all over the globe, and this is even happening in nations that were once considered safe havens, such as Japan and Germany. They're all going broke. And the dollar is crumbling. And that's why we're seeing gold prices, silver prices go up, because the value of the dollar is going down, because they can't stop spending. Silver anticipates fiat currencies dying, and that's what's happening. Analysis and financial writer John Rubino has been warning of currency crisis. On Friday, we saw a record high price spike for silver that produced a record high price in the white metal. Meanwhile, we saw record high prices for gold on the same day. This has never happened before, and that shows the currency crisis long predicted is here. Rubino says currencies are pouring into real money in anticipation of the existing fiat currencies dying. And that's what's happening because so much debt. This is a whole different thing and on a much bigger scale because their numbers are grossly inflated after 70 years of a credit super cycle. Credit, debt. And now the chickens are coming home to the roost, as the saying goes. So what we have seen so far is really just a beginning. Gold and silver have had huge runs, but they're doing it when things are more or less still normal. Supposedly that's because all the numbers are manipulated. They're lying with statistics. And we see this when we go shopping. We see this when we try to make ends meet, when we try to make the pay we get for this week last until we get paid again. Precious metals are starting to soar in anticipation of something abnormal coming. And that what is coming is a dollar collapse. It is coming. Gold, this is from the Natural News. Gold breaks $4,500 barrier as silver and plutonium soar to record highs amid safe haven rush. People's trying to get out of the dollar, trying to get out of fiat currencies. And here's the current national debt. Last time I looked at this, I think it was $36 trillion, and now we're at $38 trillion. Growing very, very quickly. $38 trillion. You can see it growing here, the numbers. You can see the debt per citizen, $110,000 or $111,000 each. Debt per taxpayer, $329,000 debt per taxpayer. And people will say, well, I don't owe anything. You are represented by the federal government. You're represented by Congress. You're represented by the Senate. You're represented by the president. They spend our money. They spend our tax dollars. They spend the tax dollars of the children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren in the future. They're putting massive debts. It's going to crash the economy, what it's going to do. They know what's going to. Then they're going to have this great reset that resets the economy and to reset everything digital, to take everything that we own, the banks, the financial stakeholders, they're going to reset it and they're going to have everything digital. They're going to reset the dollar and they're going to use all the AI and the data centers to put into the massive spy grid control grid, social credit score structure to control America. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's what we're told. That's what we've been being told by the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and they know everything's going to collapse, and they're getting everything in place to reset this and to take everything we own, because everything, the government sees everything as theirs, but they see the debt as being ours, because they're supposed to represent us. But they don't. They represent military-industrial complex. They represent Israel. They represent Big Pharma. They represent their donors, their funders, who they represent. And they spend all the money robbing us and giving that money to those people. And that's why we had $38 trillion in debt, or a big reason, a huge reason that this is happening. We have this much debt is because they're robbing the country to give to all their donors, to give to Israel, to give to the military-industrial complex to make weapons and war around the world. And we see very little of it actually spent here in the United States to help the American people. But you can see here $329,000 per taxpayer that we're supposed to owe. It is crazy. It really is. You can see here this debt clock is fantastic because it shows a lot of the pretty much everything financially you need to know. And this right here is one of the main things. And we can see it goes up and up and up and up and up because they can't stop spending. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, any of these people can't stop spending. And it seems like every president that goes in tries to outdo the last one to spend more money, to make a bigger national debt. How big will this be by the time Trump goes out of office? Will it be $50 trillion? More than likely. The way this is going up right now, and it's at $38 trillion now, another 11, 12 trillion in the next 3 years. Very, very doable, especially spending the what they're doing right now. Anyways, are you having trouble financially? Are you having trouble buying groceries, putting food on the table, paying your bills? If you are, let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, give the video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.